All right. Hey. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's we're just taking a second to see if we can get CouchBot to fire. Made a few adjustments to our streaming platform over the past few days, and just trying to make sure that that is all sorted out before we leave the station here. We got Rebecca and Katie in this morning, so I'm always super excited to have them along. But I'm cautious. I'm always cautious when it comes to getting started, because the last thing I want to do is have us take off out of the gate and then turn around and it wasn't recording. So always waiting for the notification from the streaming service that we are live. Hope you're doing well though. It's been a busy morning this morning for a number of reasons, not related to this. I got my attention kind of split off in a few other directions. I'm actually it's kind of interesting. I used to DJ in college, and this pandemic has put a bug in my ear that, hey, maybe I'll do a little Facebook Live on Thursday night. So over on Facebook, I'm gonna do a DJ set, and I haven't done a DJ set in like forever. So it's kind of like something percolating in the back of my brain constantly, like, ooh, what will I play? So yeah. But that's why I had to set up a separate streaming platform, because I didn't want to mess with this, because this is like the important one, you know. Because I get to interact with you, and I get to work through your projects over here, and that's always what's important to me. Just taking a second to let that load though. How you doing, feedback loop? Come on, CouchBot, you can do it. We updated CouchBot over the weekend too, so and there it is. Okay. Now I feel better, see? It feels better to take a minute and make sure that it fired before we get started. So I'm going to go ahead and get this underway. Hey, Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. Let's go ahead and get into it. We've got a couple things here. One, we're going to take a look at this prototype from Katie. And then I do want to make sure that I've got everything pulled up. And then two, Rebecca's got some questions related to her code. I'm actually going to start there because I know Rebecca's generally tuning in right now. And Katie, you're out there on the West Coast, so you may be, it's early. So you with the pandemic and all, you may be sleeping in. But I will start here. So Rebecca and I were working, and oddly enough, I still have the code pulled up that we were messing with. Yesterday was weird. CouchBot is losing its mind. It's fired now 3 times in the channel. That's kind of scary. I'm going to go check YouTube for a second just to make sure that CouchBot isn't losing its mind. Because CouchBot may be losing its mind, and I'm not sure why. So it says we're live now on the YouTubes. So CouchBot, please don't fire again, otherwise I will have to unplug you and figure out why you're having problems. But we're going to leave that right there, because I'm going to want to come back and take a peek at that. But yesterday, Rebecca and I were working on this. And she had a very specific thing she was trying to do. She wanted to have this information appear. Actually, basically, she wanted to have the image, which I threw a Prince album cover in here. It's not. Her project doesn't have a Prince album cover in it. But she had an illustration, she had this content, and then she had a header on it. and she wanted to make sure that the visual lined up with the header, and then at some point you could reorder everything. And to do this, we were using grid template areas. And essentially, this is the mobile version, and this is the desktop version. So basically, anything over a certain size is quote desktop, and that size would be 500 pixels. So phone, this orientation until you get larger, and then it reorients itself. And flipping this thing around is just as simple as doing that. And so we was working with her on that, kind of understanding CSS grid and how to name these areas. So grid area title, grid area content, grid area illo. And the interesting thing about this is the illo illustration here is at the bottom. And in CSS grid, if you've named these areas, you can just kind of move them around wherever you want to move them. In the CSS, if you want it to, for instance, move the illustration up here and put the title down there, you're good. And yeah, it's janky and all, but you get the idea. You can move these things around relatively easy. So I'm going to put this here. I'll move title over there, and it's a really helpful tool. But and I'm just trying to make sure that Gotchbot isn't firing again. Okay, it looks like it's settled down. Looks like it's quote settled down. Or did it just blink again? Okay, it didn't. It's just me. I'm now all being weird about it. I also want to check OBS to make sure that, yep, there we go. All right, we are broadcasting. So anyway, she has reported that she had some trouble implementing this. I use CodePen specifically to basically abstract what we're trying to do away from the project, so we can kind of see it and see how it works, and then we go into the project and we try to implement it. Well, yesterday I was showing her how it works, and I gave her this example, and then I said, you go implement, and then we must have run into a ditch, which happens, okay? It's completely fine. It happens. So let's go take a look at your code and see what you got. Oh yeah, that's VS Code. And don't mind me, I'm just writing all the things right now. So I'm going to close down that. Actually, I'll check it. Get add dot. Get it. M. Okay, and I can close all this stuff down. Yeah. Okay. That's all stuff related to the new build out of other sections at newpragmatic.com. I'm adding like 20, 30 new exercises right now. And they're all, oddly enough, pandemic related. So, let's keep going here. And no, I don't think it will date itself. I think we're going to be with this pandemic for a while. So, I think it's best if we have some exercises that reflect the reality that we're living in, particularly when it comes to performing research. Like, how do you perform research in a pandemic? I have ideas. So anyway, back over here. Let's check this out. So go get status. I'm clean. Get pull. Get pull origin. Can't type master. And by the way, just because I have a like a half busted keyboard, I've never been able to really type. So, the keyboard sucks, but damn you, MacBook Pro. And what's weird is I really liked it when it came out. Like, I really liked this keyboard. Like, I did not like it. My daughter has a computer, and I'm like, oh, man, your keyboard's really great. It's like a $200 Chromebook. So let's see here. Yeah, got all that pulled in. So you updated grid and style. You did a lot of stuff on style. Okay, you know what? Let's just let's get in here at care point, and let's go live, and let that show us the magic. Womp womp womp. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Let's see what you did, because I'm not seeing the. It doesn't look busted. It just doesn't look like it's working. All right. So, inspect element. So I see div. I see prob. I see 2 column. Well, I mean, right now what I'm seeing is I don't really see an order that appropriately like handles this. I see grid, but you've got I'm not seeing where you've tried to implement this. Let's go look at these others. Okay, so this has grid template area image text. So your image is here, and I mean, it doesn't matter, but you gave it a grid area image, and then you've got grid area of text, but the grid area of text has the title in it, and that's not gonna fly. So part of this is, and I've actually talked about this in a there was a video that I released talking about why CSS Grid isn't working, and I want to go to that really quick. It's actually one of my favorites. Yeah, what did kill Hot Topic? I have no idea. It's so random this morning, but one of my favorite videos is I think it's better HTML equals better CSS. I like this video because it puts the onus on, a lot of people complain about CSS. That's just facts. A lot of people complain about, like, the things people complain about. Number 1, JavaScript. Number 2, CSS. Number 3, everything else. Okay? The 2 things people complain about the most in front-end development are the things that people use all the time, which is JavaScript and CSS. JavaScript can be fundamentally weird, and it's also very useful, but it can be fundamentally weird because you can't tell what the hell it's doing. It's behavior-based. But CSS, like, I know many developers who are just like, that is the devil's magic, and I don't want to touch it. But my experience is that when there's a problem with the CSS, it's actually a problem with the HTML. So again, in this particular instance, the reason why this isn't working the way you want it to work is there's a problem with the HTML. So we have to go in and address that before the CSS just isn't going to work until we address that. So I'm going to go through and just kind of fold the stuff down to get to the stuff that we want to get to. And that's interesting. So, okay, so this is all the care site work. Okay, well that makes a little more sense. The client, okay, the users. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to close this down. And now we're just going to look at this stuff. So what I was saying is you have this bit right here. That's the title. And in my opinion, we've got to do something with this, because right now the way you've got it structured, and I'm just going to, just for clarity's sake, I'm going to move this to the, actually, you know what, I'm going to come through and I'm just going to create this. So you got 2 call center product area. All right, this is the thing that you're using. So I'm going to say div class equal persona title, and I'm doing that. Actually, I'll say title persona. It's a title, and it's in an area called persona. Okay. And when I do that, I'm doing it specifically so that I can understand what I would find in there. So I'm putting that information in there, which means I'm going to take it out of this. Now I want another div, and before I do that, I want to find out what product text is. So I'm going to come over here to CSS. I'm going to go through style. I'm going to search for product text. Okay, product text is grid area text. So so see product area, and I just want to make sure that it looks like product area. Yeah, okay. Okay. So this is kind of all where we're in. I want to come over here to grid, make sure I'm not going to trip across a product area over here, and it doesn't look like that I am. Let's come back over here to style. So this is product area. Right away, I'm going to change this to stack, because I always want to start with mobile, and mobile is going to go up and down. Okay. These other orientations right now, I don't care about them. I will come back to them. Okay. But we're going to stack this first, just to get it to move for a mobile orientation, and then we'll come back and adjust it for desktop. We have product image, and over here I have okay, so this has got product image on it. That's fine. And I might call it persona image, or image dash persona, but whatever, it's fine. I'm going to use what you have here, and I'm going to say, okay, this is div. Actually, I can just copy this. I don't actually need the second div. Okay, I can get rid of that. I need one of those. So here, we have product text. I copy that. Move it up, and really I'm just kind of moving these things around. I'm not, yeah, there's no huge magic act going on. And because you've used product image, I just want to get this in line, so I'll say product title. Okay. Because it's in alignment with the way it's your naming convention. Okay. I don't really, I don't have a huge, I'm not a huge stickler. I just want it to be consistent. Like when you go you adopt the world that you're moving into, unless like you're there are jobs where you're brought in to like, you fix everything, and that's fine. You can go through and like sledgehammer everything. But here, let's just find a way to work together. So product title, product text, product image. Got it. All right, so here I need product title. And for this, I'm just going to give it a grid area title. And that's fine. So image, title, text. That's all you've got. So here I need to say image. I'm going to, because I'm just remembering how we had it oriented yesterday, I'm going to say title. So title, image, text. If I come back over now, what I should see is title, image. Now text is all crazy, and I'm not sure why text is all crazy. So I'm going to go look. I'm going to guess there's like a flex box or something on this product text area. So I want to see what product text has it going for it. So product text, okay. What else is on that? I think there was something called product or prod. Okay, so there's class of prod here. And of course, there's lots of prods. Let's come in here and take a look at style sheet and just search for prod. Of course, there's going to be a lot of prods. This might take a second. Prod. Okay. Prod. I'm just going to take it off of this. I don't want to like change because I don't know where else it's being used. Because again, it's a pretty common term in this design. So I'm just going to remove that. I don't need it. Just go away, prod. And now this is, this is like, oh, it's one column. It looks all janky, but it's aligned. And this is where I can come back and get back into your CSS and go, okay, well, we've addressed title. Yeah, okay, so product area, we've addressed this alignment. Now let's come back down and let's let's open those back up. And so max width 530. I'm just going to delete this other one away. Don't want it. So this is product area. It's the title. Okay, I see what we got now. So here we have image, and here we have dot title. And this may be, I may end up having to flip this around, but I just want to make sure that we've got it. Oh, that's right. You've got max width on it. Needs to be minimum width. So we're going up. So at a minimum width of 530, adjust. And now it's adjusted. And as you come up in size, you'll see that this is in alignment at the top of that. Now, it appears that you might have, okay, so no, that's right there. So there might be something on the, if you get in here and you look at like a P tag, no, that's fine. All right, so there's that. And then when you come down in size, where did your people go? Okay, so there's healthcare admins, and it's stacked. So now when we look at this, that's the orientation that you were going for. Let's do the same thing for nurses, okay? So for nurses, I'm going to come back over. I'm going to look at nurses, and again, nurses has not been organized in a way. And this is, I'm going to get rid of that class of prod. Actually, I'm just going to, let's just model what we have here. So this would be, copy that information and move it into here. Now we're going to get rid of, we've got product text. So you've got right now, we've got product title, product text. We're going to basically, I'm going to use the same naming convention. So product text, product title, product text, product image. What we need here is this says product area. I'm going to say, and that's this is it. This is where it begins to break down. So instead of product area, I'm going to say persona nurse. Here to be persona admin. All right, so that's going to break everything right away, but I'm just going to come through here and change this to persona admin, and then I've got to do the same thing up here, persona admin, and I'm also going to say dot persona nurse, because I want the same orientation, title, image, text, for persona nurse and persona admin. The only difference really that I have is when I go for persona nurse, when we get into responsive, so persona nurse, I just want this to flip. I want the I want the title to move. So the title's going to move, and the image is going to move. And now when we come back, we should see that image moving. So now nurse is over here, although I made a mistake and I left nurse in here twice, so I will remove the nurse that we don't need. So here's nurses, and it aligns. And here's healthcare admins, and it aligns. And when we come down in size, now nurses is underneath that header, healthcare admins is underneath that header. And you could obviously do the same thing for the sysadmin thing. And to do that, it's really simple at this point. What we want to do is, you've got persona admin. This probably needs an adjustment. So health admin, so persona health admin, and down here this would be persona sys admin, right? And then we're going to pull over the same basic structure and just fill in the units here. Here we go. Drop that in there. We need product text. We don't necessarily need the others. Don't need that. Pull that out. Get rid of this extra space. Same thing down here. And then, of course, down here, this is going to be product image. And that gives us the same naming conventions. And what's interesting here is persona sysadmin has the same structure as persona nurse. So when you get into your style sheet, obviously we can say dot persona sysadmin, and this would be health admin. Persona nurse is, oh no, actually persona, well that is health admin. I do need to have that there. But it's down here. This is health admin. Persona nurse and persona sysadmin share the same structure, like images moving from one side to the next. Health admin is where it flips. So now if we go into your site, what we should see is, okay, so, I broke something. Yep, I broke something. What did I break? What did I break? Well, let's see. I probably didn't. Well, I called it health admin. That's fine. And what did I do over here? Health admin, sysadmin. I don't see it right away, but I'm sure it's in here. It must be something in HTML. Okay. Image size. It's persona nurse, it's persona sysadmin, or it's persona admin. I don't think I changed. Did I change the wrong one? Okay, it's nurse. Oh, I just hadn't saved the HTML. Okay, well, that makes sense. So anyway, now it's the image is moving around, the text is moving around. As we go wider, it makes a little more sense. When we go down in size, it stacks. Okay? Now there's tweaking that I would encourage you to do to this. It's not perfect the way that it is. But it's obviously, it's not broken at this point. So, all right. Let's go ahead and let's just make sure this is still like, yep, we're still streaming live. Okay. All right. Looks like somebody else has rushed in here. Oh, Lisa's in here. Lisa dropped in something. Well, welcome to the show, Lisa. We'll take a look at you in just a second. So let's come back over here to Rebecca. Users grid. Should I use the same grid for the what I learned section or change it somehow? I'm not sure what you used for the what I learned section. And now the question I have is same grid like the one that we just used. Well, I don't necessarily think so. I think we just fixed that. So I would say probably no. I need to help image more responsive. Okay, well, need help making the care site hero image more responsive. Let's take a look at this. So our care point, I keep saying care site, I'm not sure why. Okay, when you come down here, you've got this class. All right, let's unnote that for a second. If I could find my stuff. Yeah, all right, here we go. So I'm gonna close that down because we don't need to look at that section anymore. Close this down. Open this up. Okay. Whoop. Nope. We need the hero. We don't need another hero. All right. So we've got 3/4. We've got. So there's the image for the top. Okay. And you were saying we need to make it more responsive. Again, as I've stated before, I think this text is too big for the mobile screen. Okay, it needs to come down. When that comes down, it's going to give you more space so you can make this larger. That said, I want to just focus on addressing the fact that at some point this needs display none applied to it. Okay? To do that, I'm going to give it a class of mobile. Okay? So let's come in and look at your CSS. I'm going to search for mobile. Thanks, keyboard, for inserting spaces when I don't need. So mobile. I don't know what mobile is being used for. It says display flex width 150, so I'm going to call it mobile, hero mobile. So let's find your hero items, Octahero, Care Hero. So this is where Care Hero seems to be existing. I'm going to come in here and give it a hero mobile. So hero mobile. Hero mobile display block. Okay. So hero mobile display block. That just means when I use it, show up. All right. But immediately thereafter, I'm going to set a max width on this. Let's copy the syntax here. And this is again, I'm going up. So this is going to be min width at 530, 539, 530. Display none. So show it, but if it's not on a mobile, get rid of it. So now on this image class, I'm going to give it a class of hero dash mobile. Save it. Let's come back over. So here it is. As I go up, gone. Come down, there, go up, gone. And then that one appears. And it looks like there's a display none applied to it. So now this one's here, and that one's there, and this one's here. I do think that if you go through, you know, you've got this class of intro. Like the class of intro, if it came down to 26, you know, then you've obviously got more room to operate with, and then this could come up in size. It could be, you know, half, could be, yeah, I'm just gonna give it the 3/4 size. But at that point you can come up in size and it'll go away and it'll come back. But it requires an adjustment of the text on the mobile size. Okay, so we've adjusted the image. I think there's other adjustments that need to be made in other places, but I'll leave that to you. Icon in the hero section, and this is where I'm going to wrap up. I just want to see what you're talking about here, or icon in the nav. Sorry. Let's see here. All right, so let's take a peek. Okay, I don't see a mobile here. Let's take back. I just need to revisit your writing here. Send an icon for the hamburger menu on mobile and drop them in the Figma file next to the hero section. Are they okay? Next to the hero section. Which hero section? It's possible, Rebecca. I'm not seeing it. Oh, mobile icons. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You could also draw this with CSS, and it, like, there's an animation that I've got. I'll see if I can dig up the code pin on it, but it might be suitable for this. But I'll circle back with you on that. But these are fine. I mean, if you wanted to just use these, that's fine. Yeah, but that's where we'll wrap it up there. Let's take a look over here at Katie's prototype. So, Katie, you had a couple of specific questions too that I want to make sure that I'm addressing. The best way to line up the menu heading on all the different pages. I think I'm having trouble utilizing the rulers correctly. Okay. Well, frankly, the easiest way to line up the menu heading on all the pages is to use a component. And then as you adjust, like it would like migrate down, and I'm on the wrong page. So let's take a look at what you've got component wise, and yeah, it seems like you're using a component, which is good. So when we come in here and look at your heading on the prototype, yeah, that's lined up at 0, 0. That's lined up at 0, 0. I'm not seeing an immediate issue. Yeah, it looks like your menu is fine. I can understand, like, I can understand if the secondary issue is causing a problem, and yeah, that looks like where the problem is. So this is where there's a couple of different ways that you could do this. So first of all, pay attention to your y coordinate. So I've got like 91 here, but when I come over, this is like 124. This XY is paying attention to it. Like when you look at the XY, it gives you this crazy number. It's like 13,750 pixels. Yeah, that's on the larger canvas. It's like it's 13,070 pixels away from that corner. Has nothing to do with your project. And oh god, I always hate it when I do this. There we go. Okay. I know there's a keystroke that I can quickly get back, but I can never remember what it is. But so what I like to do here, first of all, there's a couple things you could do. You could just build this in and make a new component out of it, so that this is now I have a menu bar, and this secondary nav rides with it. So you could do that, and then it's just like plug and play. But in the absence of that, while you're still trying to figure things out, this is where you can use coordinates. And I don't even worry about the rulers. I worry about 91. All right. So here it's 124. If I grab all these and I just say, all right, now you're 91, moves it into perfect alignment with whatever it is around, you have around it, and that's one way you could do it. Okay. But in my opinion, the real thing you like to keep you from having to go through and individually adjust all of these pages, I would make a component and then place it as a component. That way, any adjustment that you made, you'd make it to the component and it would cascade down. Okay. But the worst thing you can do is try to like eyeball it, and like you're sitting here and your screen's just not big enough. I mean, you can't look from one to the next. Like, okay, this one is wherever that one is, and then I'm going to come over here and grab these, and oh my god, they're not lined up right. I'm going to bring this back, and I'm going to like do some sort of wacky alignment like that. Well, that still gets it to 91. But that only works if like they're in alignment here, because if I do it now and I align up, it's not at 91. It's like this one's almost off the page, and it goes back to, oh, well, this isn't lined up. So I worry about the eyeballing it approach. I like a component solution first. I like XY coordinates next, and 91 is like 91 over here. This is still 91, even though the overall page changed, because this is 91 from the top of the page. It's not 91 from the top of that page. It's this one. So you can count on coordinates to work for you, but I still like the component solution. So that's my answer to that. And that gets you away from having to worry about, does this work, right? Because if this only works if all my pages are aligned. And as you know, as we go over, we can probably, like here, it's not going to work very well because the pages aren't aligned, right? So rulers are useful. Rulers are useful per page. Like if I'm trying to line up something on this page, it's great. But if I try to line up with something on another page, there's so many other things come into play. Okay? But, components and then coordinates. And then like don't even consider anything past that. Eyeballing it? No. Don't eyeball it. Not right now. Eventually at some point you'll be able to like just kind of do this and like put it in exactly the right spot. You forgot to push your changes. Oh, Rebecca, that's not great. Because I just made all the adjustments. We just made all the adjustments. Yeah, we will have to sort that out because we made quite a few adjustments. Either that, or you can watch the video and just kind of merge together as desired. Rebecca just made an announcement in Feedback Loop channel, so we'll have to circle back on that. But Katie, you're using the Spell Instructor plugin, and it was not working for me today. I'm still new to plugins. Was wondering if there are any tricks to troubleshooting problems with them. Okay, so with regard to plugins, so let's go. Let's mess this one up. I'm just gonna call it pavements because that's not a word. And you would hope that a plugin like Spell Instructor would pick that up. So it says running Spell Instructor. My experience has been that plugins can be the Wild West. Sometimes they work really well. Sometimes they do not. Now, what I'm hoping pops up here in Spell Instructor is that we get, it's not made it down to pavements, but there's pavements, and the replacement is impairment. Yeah, I was confused why it looked the same. Oh, well, this is going to be a problem, Rebecca, because okay, well, we'll have to circle back. Back to pavements. Pavements, obviously, that's not the impairment is not what you're looking for there. What you're looking for there is payment. So it's not these spell checkers in particular are not perfect solutions. A lot of times they'll give you options that make enough sense. But so far as why isn't my plugin working correctly, that often comes down to the individual plugin. There is no, my experience has been there is no like all the plugins are down or all the plugins are working moment. Sporadically I will run into issues with an individual plugin, and the plugins you can count on are the ones that are and let's just come over here and let's look at the community and let's go to plugins. The plugins that you can count on are typically the ones that have really high download rates. So like Content Reel. Content Reel is released by Microsoft. They also have teams behind them. Okay, Unsplash is another good one. Lottie animations. This is one that I think is really interesting. Charts. I've seen a lot of people using charts. There was one called Stark that we've used. Yeah, like Stark. You can count on Stark working because Stark has a team behind it. On the smaller ones, like for instance, this one here by Steve Sewell. I don't know Steve. It's got 24,000 downloads. I would hope that Steve would be HTML to Figma. That seems kind of cool. I would hope that Steve is updating this over time. However, I don't necessarily know. It looks like it was last updated 8 months ago. Okay, this could be broken by now. I don't know. And part of the thing that you have to understand about plugins is you have to always keep it in sync with whatever Figma's doing. Okay, so if Figma releases an update, the plugin likely needs to be updated as well. Well, Figma updates quite often. So there is a period of time where a plugin could break because Figma pushed some update that breaks the plugin, and then the developer of that plugin has to go back and like patch it up. So a plugin could break and be broken one day and then be fixed by the next day, just because there's that lag of Figma releases an update and then a day goes by and then the developers had a chance to update it. By the way, I'm not picking on HTML to Figma at all. I think that's actually really cool. The idea that you can like take a URL and like drop it in and it's going to grab an image of that site. Yeah, I think that's cool. But for you, there's just a few things I would keep in mind. Like, is the publisher an individual or a company? If it's a company, you can count on it being up. Like, Microsoft's not going to let their stuff like fall to the wayside. Number of downloads. Like, this has an install base of 25,000 downloads. I would hope that it's going to be pretty stable. Also, if it's got 25,000 downloads and 200 likes, that's good. If that's better than if it had like 12 likes. It'd be better if this number was up. So if you see something, if you use something and it's working for you, go give it a like. And finally, when was it last updated? Like, I have doubts about this plugin just because it's 8 months old. And 8 months is an eternity in a new ecosystem, which is basically what Figma plugins is. So here, this is Unsplash. And Unsplash, maybe the likes isn't something that you should pay much attention to. I'm going to go ahead and give that some love because I've used Unsplash quite a bit. That's 138,000 downloads. I guarantee Unsplash is going to keep it up to date, and it was updated 19 days ago. Okay? So just those are the things I would look out for. Specific to yours, I didn't see anything wrong with spell checker, but that doesn't mean that, like, they could have updated it since we let's actually take a look. Let's take a look. So let's come over. I'm going to say spell. So I think it was Spell Inspector. So Spell Inspector was updated last month. Spell updated 4 months ago, and Spell Checker updated 3 months ago. But Spell Inspector, which I think is what we were using, you can so let's go to plugins. Spell Inspector. Yeah, Spell Inspector, which I like. Yeah, I like Spell Inspector. I was saying you should use it. Spell Inspector, when you look at it, 664 installs. It's dicey. It is a small project. Logic Wind is likely an independent publisher. This could break. You have a much higher likelihood that these are going to be maintained than this one. Even though I think this one is the winner of the group in terms of the quality of what it does, it still could break. It still could break because it's just not. It just hasn't found an audience. Which means, hey kids, go download it. Like give it some love. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go do that right now. I'm gonna say, hey, Spell Inspector, I really like it. And I don't know anything about LogicWind. That's the only thing they've released. LogicWind.com. Let's take a look at their site. Is it an agency? Yeah, it looks like a relatively, yeah. So it's there. They work with, looks like, smaller clients. It's fine. What's their Twitter handle look like? Here's the rabbit hole. Chris has found the rabbit hole. They have 21 followers. It's like, don't count on that. And they're in India, which is, it's fine. It looks like this is an individual. It says programmer, web entrepreneur. LogicWind made a app. It's a good one, no question. It's a good one. They don't have a lot of traffic. So can you use it? Yeah, absolutely. You can use it at your own risk. But do I like it? Yeah. They have more likes, I think, on Figma than they have followers on Twitter. So there you are. And not everybody has to be like a social media maven to like be worthy of our time either. So I have more YouTube subscribers than I have Twitter followers for New Pragmatic, just for the record, like double. Anyway, so let's take a look at Lisa. Lisa just submitted something just a moment ago. New. Oh yeah, Discord. Okay. So you made a proto persona on the mail nurse, sent it. Yep. Needed to do another persona, maybe based on the interview with the data scientist. Latest Orion pitch deck. Latest meeting notes. Mock-up branding. Slack the team said I could support Jordan. I can't do mock-up until the wireframe. Yeah, right. Correct. Research branding. Yeah. So, with regard to the personas, and let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the pitch deck. So this is a Google Doc. This is Project Orion. So it's pretty clear that the team, it's Orion. It's Orion's belt. It's it's the lines between the stars, sorts of thing. That's contact tracing. You've got some clear like grounding of where the branding could go. I would encourage like building into all of those. Is it dotted lines between the stars and the like? There's lots of things you can do with Orion, so there's no shortage there. Regarding the personas, you had a question earlier. Let's see here, and I'm just pulling it up. The goals, needs, and pain points become repetitive in this contact tracing arena. So it depends on the personas. Like if your personas are really close together, the pain point of a tracer is going to be different than a pain point of a data scientist. So the tracer is the person inputting, and the data scientist is the person consuming and sorting out the data. So like for a tracer, a pain point might be input is tedious. I need I can do more contact tracing over the course of the day if I have better tools to input the data. And what that leads you to do is that leads you to look at, okay, are there interface solutions? How are we organizing the form for input on this thing versus the data science? The data scientist has the pain point there. Like they could probably care less about how data's going in, because they're not necessarily going in and trying to input individual data. They're not using the same tool set. They're using a different tool set. So what are the pain points related to that tool set? Is it that it's difficult to so one that might overlap is the data is dirty because there's not common inputs. Okay, so on one side, your tracer is saying, "Hey, I'm having trouble because I've just got a big form and I've got to fill all this stuff out manually. I need things to be streamlined so I can quickly like tap 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 and the input is there." And what I mean by that tap 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 is I need pre-filled options so that I'm not constantly going other and typing in an entry. I still need the other to be there in case there is that outlier, but for 90% of the work that a tracer is going to do, it's going to be very much tap, 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 next. Tap, 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 next. If I have to tap and then insert something, it's going to slow me down. Additionally, on the data side of things, if the data is dirty, it's because I'm getting a lot of individual inputs that can't be synced up. So if there a question was like travel history, has the person the tracer's interviewing, have they traveled in the last 3 months? Okay, there's the input. The answer is yes, no. The answer is not, as the tracer put it, 2 months ago, or 14 days ago, or no, or yes, but 5 months ago. Like, there's all sorts of, when you have an open text field, there's all sorts of way for that to be answered, and that means that once you get to the other side, on the data scientist side, it's not parsable because there's no common thread to it, and you need things that can be binary so that the data like reacts accordingly. So so that's what I mean by when you flip the what is the job of the tracer? What are the pain points associated with doing that job? Their goal is to move faster, and the data scientist's goal is to move faster. So there they are in alignment. Like, everybody wants to move faster, but the goal also is to work with, a tracer's goal is to work with as many individuals as I can in a given time period, so I can quickly quickly get this information into the system. The data scientist is, I want to spend less of my time cleaning up the data so that I can do more modeling of the data and less like just fussy work of pulling out all the stuff that isn't uniform. So I think there's ways to position these two sides to benefit one another. And again, this is a proto persona. I'm guessing here because I'm trying to give you and your team something to work with, so that you can then go into the interviews and specifically drill down on some of these questions. And maybe a data scientist doesn't care about that at all. It's like, oh no, I've got tools that can easily allow for that, so don't worry about that. If then it becomes if we make that improvement, it's for the tracer, not the data scientist says they're not concerned with that. Okay, so that's the goal. Go through with a set of information and seek out whether or not those issues are appropriate. And that's what the proto persona is, just giving you an idea of what that person might want, and then you need to go out and test and see if your theory is right. Yeah, so with regard to wireframing and mockups, I think it's great that you're kind of tying those together. I do think the more you can be involved in wireframing, the better off you're going to be with regard to the mockups. So once if you've got a hand in the wireframing aspect, that's going to give you a jump on where to go with the mockups. It's going to reduce your processing time, and so I would like tether. And the good news is Jordan's in Figma, so if you've got questions regarding like, how are you doing that? You could ask her that. Also, if you've got questions with Figma, I'm literally right here. I'm here to work with you on that. Figma, there's the wireframing video, there's the Figma video, there's creating or component video, there's creating components, there's the prototyping, there's a wealth of videos related to Figma. There's also plugins, Smart Animate, auto layout, working with type, organizing the files, and then we get down here and creating styles, wireframing Figma, creating components, prototyping with Figma. I actually have a couple more Figma videos that are forthcoming, so we are all Figma all the time. If you have questions there, just reach out. And that's going to do it for this morning. I do need to try to sort out all the issues that we're going to have here with Rebecca's code. So I'm going to do that really fast. Feel free to ride along as I do that. Before I add that, I'm going to do something really stupid. Commit updates from feedback loop, and now I'm going to have to pull, and it's going to bust everything. Pull origin master. All right, we got a merge conflict. And where is this merge conflict? Well, so we've got two major changes here, it appears. Luckily, it just appears to be happening here. So the current change, I'm going to accept the current change. We're going to come down here, and this is related to let's take a look at what she's got. It's a content LO. Title, content, LO. Okay, it looks like we have basically the same. I'm going to keep mine. I'm going to blast that one away, Rebecca. Set current change. And yeah, so let's see where we're at. Status. Merge from loop. And away we go. All right, so Rebecca, I pushed those up. Hopefully that properly addresses the questions that we had, and that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the feedback loop. I do want to check this. It looks like we've got oh, that's just a search thing. Okay. All right. Yep, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the feedback loop. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. Take care.